Hi everybody, my name is Manuel, and in this video we'll be covering the different versions of CSS and what did they bring to the table. Because you probably saw a lot about CSS3 online, and hopefully you've been wondering what the other versions have been doing. And this is also going to contain a short history lesson. So let's get right into it. The first version, of course, is CSS1, and just a small note on the side, I'll be using the term specs, or which comes from specifications, and that means the specifications for that exact CSS version. So the CSS1 spec included stuff like a basic font property styling, text aligning, color for the text, line heights, background colors, and basic margin borders and paddings, which are more or were more than enough back when it was released sometime, I think, in 96 or 97. So it wasn't that much happening in CSS back then, but it was definitely a breakthrough for that time. Then a few years later, not that many actually, the CSS2 spec got defined and finalized, but it wasn't that, maybe not that big of a deal as, for example, the third one is, which we will see soon. But it's been building on top of CSS1 with stuff like z-index and different positioning, more positioning values than just static and relative, and a lot of other small ones which are not that, maybe that were worth mentioning in this video. And jumping a lot of years forward in time, the all-present CSS3, and it introduced stuff like advanced selectors, which we didn't previously have, and don't worry, we'll be covering all of these in future videos. We have transformations like scaling, rotating. We even have 3D transformations, which lets us use not only the X and Y axis, but also the Z, so we can have depth. We have animations. We also have transitions, which are closely tied to transforms. Media queries, which is the responsiveness part of any modern website today. Web fonts, which was something totally mind-blowing, at least for me. So we could step away from the classical default Times New Roman, Arial, and Verdana and Helvetica, and move to some custom fonts which actually look great and work great on any operating system and on any device. And also a noteworthy mention is gradients. Of course, we have a lot more. We'll be covering a lot more of these CSS3 properties. Another note on the side, all modern browsers support CSS3 and most of the CSS3 specifications. Of course, probably except Internet Explorer in some specific advanced cases. But the future of CSS did not stop and does not stop at CSS3. It's still being worked upon. We still have a lot of stuff which are continuously being added by the browser developers, so we can have a lot more interactive websites and a lot more awesomeness all around. And those are the things like Flexbox, which is still in its incipient phase, but it will, in 1 or 2 years' time, definitely change the way we currently work and lay out our websites. And other properties or specifications for the future, which is said to be in CSS4. I'm not sure, so this is totally experimental. There's no release date from what I remember, or at least at the time of this video. But some of the stuff that we can see in we will see in CSS4 is very advanced selectors, CSS shapes, CSS regions, and also device queries, which is really amazing. And we'll understand why somewhere around the intermediate section of this course. So in this short lesson, we've covered the different versions of CSS, what they do, and we can also see a little bit into the future. We're probably going to do a recap at the end of this course on what the future of CSS will hold for us. But as you can see with this very brief bullet list, or at least, I'm sorry, this one actually, these are the kind of things that we're going to be learning in this course, and trust me, they're going to be really great. But before, we're going to have to go through the CSS2 and CSS1. So the really basics, we're going to cover those so we can, move forward. So I will see you in the next lesson where we'll be talking about syntax. Yes, we'll be talking about the syntax of CSS. And shortly after that, we're going to be talking about selectors and what are they and how do we use them. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson.